So, okay. Okay. I made a video just yesterday, and the video was me being confused about C200 Raw Light. And there were so many issues with it. And I brought it into Raw Developer, and I would try to edit it a little bit, change the color space or whatever it was, export a ProRes file, because you're dealing with these sometimes 80 gigabyte files or whatever, depending on if you record longer, form stuff. And so, as everyone said on YouTube, they're like, okay, well, convert it or bring it to DaVinci and make ProRes stuff of it. I was like, well, okay. So I brought it to DaVinci, and I saw it was stuck in Rec 709. I was very confused, and it just didn't make any sense. And I just got into this loop of like, what is going on with this thing? And in Raw Developer, the same is like, you export this, and the 2 times I tried exporting from Raw Developer, a 10-minute video that I recorded the last video, there were like 30 drop frames in it. And I was like, well, this is unusable. So Raw Developer is out of the question. It was just a weird process. And I think a lot of people have found that still shoot with C200 Raw Light, they found their sweet spot with it. But for me, I'm just like beginning this raw workflow, and it's so confusing at the very beginning. Even when you watch, I've watched like 40 or 50 videos about raw, Canon Raw. And let me just first talk about the first mistake that I did. Let's dive in and I'll show you. Okay, so you can already see that I'm working on something in here, but let me just talk about what the issue was in the video before and how one person on Reddit was like, this is all you have to do. It's very silly, but for people like me that maybe were confused, here was the easy fix. So I would bring a raw file into DaVinci, and this is the video from yesterday, and it would come in like this. And so, for example, well here, I'm just gonna go backwards. So when I would go to Canon Raw or Camera Raw and go to Canon, I would see that there's no way to change any of these settings. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe if I go like this, maybe do project, there we go. This was the answer from yesterday. I never thought to put it full res Canon. I always just kept it full res Resolve. I don't know if there's a difference. There obviously is. I didn't think there was, but here we are. So what was happening was I was stuck. This would not change. And so in my head I was like, why is it Rec 709? Why is it even reading Rec 709 at all? It's a raw file. It should be Canon Cinema Gamut. Why it does that? I don't know. It's an easy fix, but at the time I was stuck. I didn't get it. Of course, if you just go to full res Canon, then you go to clip, you can change all your raw settings like normal, like any other raw file that you bring into DaVinci. It's just one click that you're missing. So then you're able to go from Rec 709 back to Canon Cinema Gamut, C-Log2, ISO, which is very important. As you know, when it was like frozen, kind of locked out on the full res Resolve, it would lock it at 800 because it knows Canon files are 800 base ISO. 400, of course, as probably everyone knows, is what you should be shooting on with C200. The noise floor is insane, 800 for a C200. So that's what the file looks like. This makes sense. You're able to go from raw to DaVinci Wide Gamut, and then out of DaVinci Wide back into your Rec 709 for monitoring. And you get to do all your stuff in between here. We'll reset this. So this is how the image looked when I recorded it. Knowing, of course, that I can come in here, bring the global up, and now my skin tones are right where I like them, between 512 and 640 for someone like me. So it was an easy fix. It's kind of insane that I was like, my mind was boggled what was going on. But in the process, I learned a lot. Like Canon Raw Developer seems useless. Now I'm on my raw journey. My raw journey, literally. I'm excited. What I'm gonna do next though, and this is the only reason I made this instead of making a 20-second video of how I actually figured out what was going on, is what I'm gonna do next is actually kind of more important and something you never see online. Everyone likes to talk about how to expose Canon C200 and what are the limits with the ISO and the noise. People are very confused about what noise is and what ISO is, and especially what ISO means when you're talking about a camera. People don't realize that cameras, I'm not gonna get too much into this, but a camera sensor is a voltage meter. It's all it is. ISO, it's not changing what the sensor sees at all. I think people are very confused about that, especially this whole thing with the A7S and that new wave of like, cameras can see in the dark, this is crazy. Yes, because the sensor can see in the dark, not because you're boosting the ISO. So I'm excited for that video, but that's it for this. I just feel like I've taken too much time to explain this silly thing, but I'm excited for the next video, and I will see you then.